I think we're up and running. So the first thing we're going to do is we look for what is going to be our lightest color on here. We're going to change it slightly from what this is. We're going to have a yellow sun, not a white sun. So if I'm looking at this picture here, what's my lightest color? Yellow, okay? And this is kind of a yellow-orange that goes into orange, and this is yellow and green. So anything that's going to have yellow on it is what I'm going to paint first, okay? And sometimes I'm going to need it to be still a little wet, like when I do the sky, and other times it won't matter as much, like when I do the ground. We're not going to do that sky first. We'll focus on getting this, and the sun done first. So what we're going to need to do now is over here in our paints, we're going to need to get our yellow wet. When I first opened this up, I noticed that I actually had some paint, other color, other than yellow in it. So I'm getting that paint wet. I'm just putting water into it, and when I do this, I'm loading my brush up. So here's my brush. I'm getting it full of water. I'm not just barely touching it and then going here. I'm getting that full of water. My brush is clear down in here. And then I'm putting it over here, rolling it around a little bit. And what I want to start with, and I don't need a ton, but the consistency of what's in here should be about like milk, okay? Thicker than water, but not thick like glue, okay? So about like milk. But I want a relatively light yellow. I don't want this to be a super intense yellow. So here's how you make your watercolors lighter and darker. Less water equals darker color. More water equals lighter color. So with what I've got right there right now, it's mixed up. It's a kind of consistency of milk, maybe even a little thicker. That's as dark as that yellow can go, okay, right now. But I can make it lighter, and I want it lighter for what we're going to do. So I'm going to take a little bit of that. Where did I put my paper towel? I'm going to take a little bit of this yellow out of my tray right now, load my brush up. I'm going to go to the upper tray. You see I've got yellow there. Then I'm going to take water out of my cup, just plain water from my brush, and bring it up here. And I'm going to add water to it. You'll notice that that is lighter than that. And that's what I want. Maybe I want just a little darker, and to do that I can just add a little more paint to it. But it's lighter. My test paper, I can come over here and go, okay, I've got a light yellow on there. This will show you how dark the other one is. Okay, see that's quite a bit darker. That's what my test paper is for, so I can see, well, do I got it light enough? Am I too dark? I'm going to add a little more paint to this because it's a little too light, but that's why I have a test paper. I'll test it right next to it. That's about what I'm looking for, okay? That one is lighter than this one and darker than that one. I want kind of a medium yellow. I don't want a super dark yellow like that. I want kind of a medium. So now that I made a mess there, this is my medium color right here. That's medium yellow, and then this is dark yellow. Okay, so hopefully you see the difference there. I'll give you a second to mix that. Get a little bit in your upper part of your tray. And I almost made a major mistake here. I don't know why I am such a scatterbrain today, but I am consistent, if nothing else. All right, I'm going to put my better drawing here that's lighter instead of my dark drawing. Okay, the first place that I want to paint light yellow right now, or medium yellow, is the inside of this sun. So I'm going to come around here, going around the outer edge really quick, and I'm going straight across the horizon line right there. And then I'm going to just take the paint that's already in my brush and spread it around inside that little sun, because there's plenty of paint in my brush to cover that whole thing. And I want it as even as I can make it. So when I spread that around, that's pretty even in value, okay? It doesn't have light and dark streaks all over. It's pretty even. So I'll let you do that, and we'll go on to the next part. Okay, this next part's going to be a little bit different. Does anybody need another second before I go to the next step? Okay, I don't see any hands. So I'm just going to get some water out of my cup right now, just a little bit of straight water. And I'm going to come down below my sun here, and I'm going to come left and right of it. And I'm just going to spread a little water, not above the horizon line. I'm just coming back and forth, and I'm leaving a big dry area in the center, but just a little bit of water around it. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create something so I don't get a hard edge when I put the yellow down, the next part of the yellow down. So I've got that water on there, and I don't know how this will translate on the camera, but you can see it's shiny. It's got a little bit of water on it. Then I'll come back to my medium yellow, and I'm going to go right in the center, right below my sun, and I'm going to bring it out, and I'm doing horizontal lines coming across here. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's coming partway down my page, and I'm pulling it into where I put that water. And the idea being, there's not a hard edge in here now. If I didn't put any water down, you'd see a paintbrush stroke through there. And we're trying to avoid that. I don't want it to look like a paintbrush stroke. I want it just to fade out to white. And I don't want to fill the whole area up with it. I just need a little bit right there. Okay? Because what's going to happen when we put the blue on here and we're going to put some reflection on here, it'll look like the yellow sun reflecting off the water with yellow highlights. But we're doing the underpainting first, the lightest colors first, and that's what we're focused on right now. If you have hard brush strokes in here, just add a little bit of water to try to get rid of them. When I say hard brush stroke, that means a hard edge. If it's a really sharp, hard edge anywhere in there, that means there's not enough water right there. If you got water going everywhere and color going everywhere, maybe back off the water a little bit. And I want to keep that relatively light. It's even a little lighter than my sun, and that's okay. If I get this too dark, this yellow, if it gets too dark, when I go to paint blue over it, does anybody know what would happen? Turn green, yeah. So I don't want to have it get too dark under there when I put the blue over it. I want it to stay, my blue to stay blue and my yellow to stay yellow and not turn into green on me. But if it happens on our first try, oh well, it happens. It's not the end of the world. I think today we're just probably going to get our yellow colors in, and then on Monday we'll get the greens and the blues and the oranges. This will turn into a pretty nice painting on Monday. Okay, so I don't know where you guys are at with your yellow, but I need more. Okay, I'm looking over here, I'm like, it's not enough. I'm going to put some more water in here. You always want to have enough paint to cover whatever it is you're going to do next. We're going to paint the trees yellow, and we're going to paint the landmass yellow. Well, that is not even close to enough paint to do that. So I'm getting some water over here, kind of filling that little tray spot. And then I'm going to come over here and start loading it with paint. Come over here and get paint, loading it up, more water. If your paint's starting to get sticky and dry, add more water to it. You don't ever want to drop paint with paint that feels sticky, like glue or tacky. You always want it to have some flow to it, and be liquid-like. You don't want it to be anything like glue. And it does get sticky as it has less water in it. So we want to make sure that we don't let it get too sticky. I've got quite a bit of paint there, and then I'll show you a little trick to make your paint go further here in just a second. Okay, I'll give you a minute to get some paint loaded up. And don't be shy about loading that paint up in the upper part of your tray. If you're just putting a little bit in there, you want to put a lot of bit in there. I mean, you don't need to have it like flowing over the sides of your tray, but you do need a fair amount in there. Kind of forms a little ridge down in the bottom There's kind of a little edge right here inside your tray, right along here and here. If it's up to the top of that little edge there, you probably are going to be okay. Okay, but if you just got a little puddle right there, that's not enough. And if you got it filled clear up to the top of these, well, then you got enough to do 4 paintings. Okay, but it's just that little edge right there is enough. Okay, so here's our little trick to make things go further. I'm going to paint this. I'm going to turn my paper because I don't want to have my hand rubbing on my painting. Is there anybody left-handed in here? Raise your hand if you're left-handed. Okay, if you're left-handed, turn your paper that way so that your hand doesn't rub on your paper. Does that make sense to you? Okay. Oddly enough, in my family, I have 6 kids and my wife, and there's only one that's right-handed other than me. Everybody else is left-handed. Okay, I've got my paper turned, so I'm going to just take a little water out of my cup right now. And I'm coming over here to my landmass, and I'm just going to go in the center, and I'm going to just really fast go over the middle part of it a little bit. I'm not going to go out to the edges, just a little bit in the middle. I'm not putting a ton of water. I just want it wet or damp. But that's so the paint will flow better, okay? I'm going to come in, get my paint out of here, and then I'm going to go along my edge with my yellow, right along the edge like that. And that gives me a really good sharp edge on my outer edge. And then as soon as it hits that water, it just mixes right in with it, and you get a lot more coverage really fast without using a ton of paint. You're using the water to help spread it around. And that's the purpose of that. I just come in, and I don't hardly have to use any paint at all once I get the edges done. Just got to come in and put it on there, and that water helps spread it everywhere. I'll show you on the other side what happens if you don't have enough water or you don't do that. Right now, I'll just stop on that side. Hesitate a little bit before you do the other end, because let me show you what not to do. Well, actually, I'm going to show you what not to do right now. If I come in here like this, and I don't have any water on it, when I come in, I come along the edge, and then I'm trying to paint it in, I end up getting paintbrush strokes going everywhere. See that? We don't want it to look like that. We don't want a bunch of paintbrush strokes going everywhere. We do want water. We want it to be smooth. So I'm going to come back in with water real quick, fix that, and then come along my edges, blend it right into that water, and now both sides are nice and smooth. Now there are times where we do want paintbrush strokes, but this is not one of them. There'll be times when we're painting on the water and trying to create waves and stuff in here where we will want to have some paintbrush strokes. I just want this a little bit darker, so I'm adding just a little more paint over here so it's more like the left side. Hopefully yours looks relatively smooth. Is anybody running into problems with it looking rough? If you do, let me know, because we can fix it at this point, but if you don't tell me till Monday, then, well, we're stuck with it. So. I don't think we're going to get all the trees done, so let's just set a goal to get these 2 trees done on the left. Do them just like we did the landmass. Take a little bit of water to start with, put it right in the middle, come along and do your edges. We are going to paint green over this eventually. This is just for a little bit of a highlight that we'll let show through in some places when we put the green over it. And when you get down here and the trees overlap, you don't have to worrying about one edge of one tree. They just come together right there. So just go fast in that spot. I'm not even going to try to get the other tree because we're going to have to clean up here in just a minute. So I'll get 2 done on one side and we'll call it good for the day. And when we're painting, don't ever be afraid to ask for help. Or if you're not sure on something, make sure you ask me. Because painting, unlike drawing, there's a limited time frame, okay? When stuff dries, sometimes it gets hard to fix something. But while it's wet, it's a lot easier to correct things or fix things. So, I'm not going to bark and bite your head off or anything, so just make sure you let me know if you're struggling. Okay, so we got 2 trees done, we got the landmass done, we got the sun, then we got where the water's going to reflect. We'll do these other 2 trees, the water in the sky on Monday, and this is going to look awesome. With that said, go ahead and take time to clean up. Clean your brushes out super good. Wash your cups out, dry them out with paper towel. Check your brush like I'm doing right now, making sure I don't have any yellow in my brush. And let's get cleaned up, put stuff away. And I'll see